Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Laser Fast Podcast. I'm your host for today, Jose Calderon III, and with me today is
Esteban.
and our special guest today. We have future D1 basketball prospect, my friend and Hoboken team leader, Kanaan Guilford. Everybody, give him a round of applause. For the show. Today we are missing Danny. He's going to be on a field trip to New York, watching a play, I believe. And then we have spectacular. And then we have Sophia and Luis in the back. Sophia had to step out for a moment. We have Luis back there, though. We don't have camera 4 set up to show them. That should be set up soon. But so, Kanaan, who are you?
I'm a student athlete. Play basketball. This year I'm gonna start running track. I ran track freshman year. Didn't go to any of the meets because I made varsity and I was a freshman on varsity, so I didn't think I was gonna be doing great at any of the meets. But so I dropped it last year and I'm starting again this year. Basketball. I love basketball, man. It's been a passion of mine since I started really late. I started playing basketball in the 7th grade, and since then, I've loved it and I work at it like a lot.
Right. Now, how do you believe that your new participation or continued participation in a track will interfere or help your improvement in basketball? Do you think they go hand in hand, so to speak?
I do think they go hand in hand because basketball, as you may know, is a winter sport, and indoor track is also winter, but I'm planning on doing outdoor track, which is during the spring. Preparing for the track season will definitely help my athleticism, which definitely helps basketball, and working on coordination and athleticism for basketball will make me better at track.
Right. So I mentioned earlier you played for Hoboken.
Yes.
Last season, give us a little summary on how last season went. Just a little thing.
I played 2 games last season.
Right.
I played 2 games last season because I missed the first half of the season because I broke my wrist.
Wow.
I punched a wall. I was really mad. I broke my wrist. Then later on in the year, I gave myself a bad concussion.
Right.
And the reason I was able to play 2 games was because they didn't really believe that the concussion was serious. So they let me play for 2 games, and they realized I could not keep up with any of the plays. So
Right.
I had to miss the rest of the season. At the time, our team, we didn't do great, but it wasn't bad.
Right.
This year definitely is going to be a lot better than last year.
Now, I've known you for the past 2 years,
Yeah.
and I've seen the character arc, the matureness, the development totally in perspective, right?
Mhm.
And now last year, I'd say during the basketball season compared to this year, I think this year you're way more mentally prepared and physically prepared. You're working on your shot. And how would you feel? What's the difference between entering last year and this season in your perspective? Like, how do you feel? Do you feel more prepared?
Mhm.
What's going on?
I will say last year, I thought I was more prepared than I think I am now. But objectively, I am more prepared this year than I was last year. I think the reason that I don't feel as prepared as I really am is because personally, I never think that the work is over. I push myself as hard as I can and then push harder. I think if I were to train somebody and I were to push them as hard as I push myself, you would think I'm crazy.
Right.
Because
you put in the work, man.
Yeah. I feel like if I'm at home and I'm resting, unless I've worked myself to the bone for that day, there's no reason that I should be resting,
Mm-hmm.
I feel that no matter what I'm doing, I should be working on myself, whether that is rest, which is extremely important, or working on basketball or working on my school career, because I am still a student athlete. A student comes
Correct.
first, and my grades are very important to me.
Right. Now that's the one I'm gonna open.
So you said you were injured, and this year is basically you want to come in nice and good. Do you feel like you have to prove yourself in any way, or you feel like you're the underdog since you didn't really get to play that much last year?
Oh, most definitely, because my freshman year, I also didn't play. I was varsity freshman year for basketball, and I didn't play a single game because again I was a freshman on varsity. And last year I played a total of 2 games. I think I scored maybe 12 points between those 2 games. And that's not the player that I am. I am a great basketball player. I love the sport. I'm dedicated to the sport. And this year I have a lot to prove because my coaches don't even know how good I am at basketball.
Okay,
Right.
I like that.
Now, you mentioned the concussion, the hand. I seen the development with the wrist. How would you like describe your comeback from those injuries? Because I believe you're now fully healed, correct?
Yeah, now I'm fully healed.
So how was
Yeah.
the road to recovery, and just mentally, facing with the wrist and your concussion and how your head feels?
Mentally it was a struggle because um my drive and my attitude towards work, it made me feel like I didn't have to worry about it. At first, when I first broke my wrist, I thought I just punched the wall a little bit and it hurt a little bit and it would be fine like the next day. I went home, iced it. I thought it would have been fine. But after a week, the pain wasn't as bad, but I still had pain whenever I tried to write, eating, pretty much anything involving my wrist. I had pain, and it was just difficult for me to accept that I'm not indestructible. So once I did finally get over that, I went to see a doctor, got X-rays, treatment, a little bit of homeopathic stuff with that, and lots of stretching. My wrist is 100% healed.
Oh, let's go.
I still stretch before and after playing because I don't know, I'm a bit superstitious. You can never be too prepared as far as that. So
1,000% correct. That's one. You got anything?
So, do you feel all right? So, going into each game, are you more cautious, or are you still, let's say, as aggressive? You have that young spirit, or because of your injuries, are you more? Yeah, cautious would be the word.
I do believe that I still have the aggression that I had before, but I wouldn't say cautious, but more. Oh yeah, I guess cautious.
Yeah, I was trying to find a
yeah.
word. It's kind of hard.
Yeah, no, but I do care about my well-being now that I've seen that I'm not indestructible.
Do you train differently because of that?
This
Do
is a
you
great
treat
question.
yourself differently?
Yeah, I do definitely train differently. At sometimes when I work like really hard, some days my wrist will still like I'll get a little tinge of pain and I'll stop immediately because I'm terrified of re-aggravating anything that had happened before. Because not only was the wrist broken, I also damaged the cartilage, and you might not know, but cartilage doesn't grow back.
Okay.
Bones can refuse. Even ligaments and torn muscles can refuse and regenerate, but cartilage doesn't. So having damaged cartilage in my wrist, it still can become re-aggravated more easily than any other part of my body.
Okay.
Now, you want to take us on your path to becoming, freshman in varsity is very impressive. I will say.
Yeah.
So your recovery, I mean, not your recovery, your road to becoming a freshman in varsity and now staying in varsity. Just take us through that, your childhood and with basketball through middle school, elementary, and how young were you already playing with people maybe our age or older or younger?
I'm not gonna lie to you, man. Like I said, I started playing basketball in the 7th grade, and at the time, I didn't even want to play. My friends forced me into playing because I was tall. Like, I haven't gotten too much taller since then, but at the time, I was in the 7th grade. I was 5'10", which is pretty tall for a 7th grader.
Yeah.
So they forced me onto the team, and I fell in love with it, man. I bought the first 2K that I could, which unfortunately was 2K18,
Oh,
which
Lord.
is historically the worst one. But I still fell in love with the sport of basketball, man. And I found the player Giannis Antetokounmpo, currently still my favorite player. Not because he's like one of the greatest players in the league now. Back in 2018, he wasn't a bad player at all, but
No.
he wasn't where he is now.
Right.
But I looked into his story because at first I saw his name and I was like what? His name is very difficult. So I looked him up. I found that he didn't start playing basketball until he was 13, which is the same age when I started playing. So that really motivated me to start playing harder and harder. And I will say that my early success in basketball, as far as like late middle school and early high school, came from not just my height, because as I got older, I didn't grow as much, but I will say, just genetically, I am more athletic than most of my peers. So that definitely brought me really far. Um, Being so tall, so young, they made me play the center position in basketball, and I didn't really get to learn many of the skills that I need now. Now that I play shooting guard, right? I didn't learn like any of the skills that I needed. So my summer after 8th grade and summer after freshman year, I was like dedicated to learning how to shoot and learning how to dribble, because that's what I need at my position. Because I'm not tall. I'm not a short guy at all by no means, but I'm not basketball tall. So yeah.
I feel that, man. I
Yeah,
feel that.
you know?
Because I was that height back then too, and now I'm just like, if I were to ever play basketball seriously, like with real people, I know the role of a center, but they would put me at guard because you 6 foot, they're gonna put you at guard.
Exactly. Yeah.
But all in all, you mentioned Giannis Antetokounmpo. I know that was one of your favorite players. Now, who do you model your game after? Like, if you had to compare it to like a prime NBA player right now, anybody in history, who would you say that you try to model your game after the most?
Mm, I will say that I try to model my game after Kobe Bryant the most, because I love his mid range game, like,
Yeah.
and that's definitely as a transition from a center to a guard. The mid range game, the high post game, it makes the transition a lot easier. Um, his mid range game is unmatched, man. Between him and Michael Jordan, there's nobody who can do the mid range like them.
Right.
Maybe Timmy, but
Tim Duncan,
Timmy,
of course.
yeah, Tim Duncan. He's a power forward, so not
Yeah.
really. I don't think I'm gonna go to be 6'11".
I hear that. Now, I want to actually ask you a question before you ask
As
him.
me.
Now, you're a student athlete too, right?
I am. I run track.
You run track?
When you said track, I got hyped.
Right. All right, cool. I just wanted to know. But go ahead, ask me a question.
All right. So we spoke about the past and the present. Let's talk about the future. What do you want to do between? All right, we spoke about this year. But let's talk about next year and then college. What are your goals?
Well, when I set my goals personally, I don't like to set lofty goals because I like to work for something that I feel at the time is attainable and what is the next step. So my sophomore year, I was just fighting to prove myself and to get a starting spot on the varsity roster. And now I think I might have secured that. So my next goal.
Pardon the interruption. Following students come to the main office.
Uh-oh.
It's a list.
Amadou
Uh-oh.
NJ.
Uh-oh.
Amadou NJ. Taha Nassar.
Damn.
And Leo Barsky to the main office.
Good luck to those three gentlemen.
Yeah.
Hope the best for you guys. I don't know what you guys are gonna call down to the office for, but good luck, my friends. Good.
Yeah, but like I was saying, wait, where was I?
You're talking about your goals?
Yeah, goals. Okay, so right now my goal is college basketball. That's the next step past varsity basketball in high school is college basketball. I say probably my dream school would be Georgia Tech.
Georgia Tech.
Georgia Tech is a big basketball name, and they also have an amazing engineering program, which is what I'm studying outside of basketball. Engineering is outside of basketball, and my love for broadcasting. I think I want to study engineering in college.
Gotcha.
That's dope.
All right, that's impressive. Now we're talking about future. And if anybody could do it here in high tech, I think it's him that can make it to college basketball. But if you get drafted in the NBA, what team would you want to be drafted by or signed to?
I'm not gonna lie, probably the Nets or the Knicks, because I love the city, man. I love New York so much.
Nets, right?
Probably the Nets. I'm not gonna lie.
Now, if we look back at this in 5 years and you get drafted by the New York Knicks, they're gonna watch this podcast. They're gonna be like,
But really, like, no matter what team, if I am drafted or signed to the NBA, no matter what team I'm drafted or signed to, I will be content because basketball is my passion.
That's
Man.
the dream. Yeah.
No matter what team, it doesn't really matter to me. But not realistically, ideally, probably the Nets.
Right. Now I said sign, not because he's going undrafted, because you never know with Kanaan, man. One year he's with Georgia Tech and he's like, this ain't working for me. I need to play against better talent. He goes to Europe, goes and like does what Luka Doncic and Giannis did, and then he comes up to the NBA and dude's the number one prospect. So, yeah, man. I'm very excited to see what Kanaan could do for your career. Any last thoughts, any last words? Those the future, those that are looking at this and looking for you for inspiration, to have a similar story and an arc like you. Any words, any last thoughts?
You're not indestructible. Take care of your body, rest, and outside of that, push yourself as hard as you can.
That's awesome. And thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for watching the Laser Fast podcast. I almost said it NPR. That was yesterday, though. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us. This is a goodbye from
Esteban.
our special guest,
Kanaan.
and Jose. We miss you, Danny. We miss you, Sophia. Enjoy, guys. Get home safely. Next week, we got another one coming.
Yep.